Hey, what's up, guys? How are y'all? Welcome back to the OS Rick Project, the only podcast that promises. I couldn't think of anything. Well, I was gonna say it doesn't fail, doesn't come out broken. Like, damn it, it's terrible. Don't quit my day job, right? Anyways, guys, welcome to the OS Rick Project, episode 50, guys. Hope you're doing well. I know I am. Had a good weekend. I was able to chill, relax, unwind. How are y'all? Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it, guys. If you are a returning listener, thank you very much. If it's the first time dropping by, hey, it's like hanging out with your boy. I just kind of rant and rave and talk about what's going on in video games and what's going on in my life, and just share it with you guys. I'm just glad you guys are here. I did reach 200 downloads, so that's pretty cool. I did the math. I'm like, well, it's not really impressive, but that's fine. I'm not doing it for the numbers. I'm just doing it like, hey, people are listening. That's cool. I appreciate it. Again, thank you for being here, guys. Guys, what you been up to? How was y'all's week? What did y'all do? What did y'all play? What y'all get into? For me, I did. During the week, I played a lot of Guilty Gear. I'm still learning on the. Hold on, let me get it. Guys, if you're just watching, if you're just listening, make sure you can check out the video. I'm still using the snack junk food arcade micro snack box. I'm getting a little bit better with it. I've been sticking with it. That first Monday, it was rough, dude. I lost my shit. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I lost too many matches with on my online buddies. I'm like, you know what? I'm taking a break. Okay, but then I came back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So by Friday, I was actually playing some online matches, and guys. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually made it to floor 9, floor 10, one of those two. I don't know. I made it to floor 9, floor 10. I made it all the way over there, guys. So I'm slight improvements. I'm still not at the point where I was at when I was playing arcade stick, but it's getting there. So I did a lot of Guilty Gear during the week streaming that. So you guys are interested in that, make sure to check out the Twitch. And I did pick up Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now I'm gonna be 100 with you guys, straight up front. I did not buy that game. I received it from back in early April, late March. I bought a AMD CPU, and it came with a free copy of Jedi Survivor. So I got it from there. I got the code. I downloaded it. You know what? And I think I'm taking a. The EA launcher isn't that bad. It's just I wish it was on Steam with everything else. But isn't this it doesn't seem to be annoying the shit out of me and having pop-ups and like automatically updating and stuff like that. Of course, I just opt out of all of those options and features. But I've been playing the game. I started playing it. I played a little bit Thursday night when a couple hours before it released. I think they released it like at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. So I played for a little bit. I mean, very little. Just kind of like download it into the computer. Messed around with a little bit of settings, and then I played Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday evening. And I think I already have like 10 hours in it already. So I put in some time. And my first impressions is I think it's getting more hate than it ought to be. And I'm not here to defend or justify anything that EA has done. I'm not a big fan of EA. I do like some of the games that they have released over the years, like Dragon's Age and Mass Effect. I do enjoy those games, but I'm not the biggest fan of them, and especially since the recent track record with Battlefield 2042, Wild Hearts. What else did they release recently, guys? Shit. Oh, oh my God! I know. There's a bunch of other stuff, and I should have written down. So they're not really my favorite, but they've kind of been having this track record of having these games come out that aren't all that great, at least when it comes to the PC side, right? So going back to Star Wars, apparently on the console side, it seems to be okay. Not the best showing, but it's okay. So make sure you guys check out Digital Foundry. They talked about it. They break it down on the consoles. I saw the one for the PlayStation 5. I haven't seen the one for the Xbox Series X or S, and this game is just for the current gen consoles. So don't expect it to see it on Xbox One or PS4, PS4 Pro. Okay, but on the PC side, And I'm playing it, guys. So originally, I downloaded it on my bigger AMD machine, which is an AM5. It's a Ryzen 5 7600 paired with a 6900 XT GPU. So it's a little on the big side, for for the, way past the recommended specs. And the smaller AMD system I'm playing on, which I did the most testing on, and of course I ran fine on that on the bigger system. But the one I'm playing it on now is the CPU is a Ryzen 5 5600X, which is a good mid-range one, real solid choice. And then the GPU is a 6650 XT. So the recommended GPU was a 6700. So I have just the step below that one. So, and I was playing it with Epic settings across the board. I do leave motion blur off. I do leave film grain off. I leave ray tracing off and VSync off. Everything else was at Epic, and the FSR was set to quality. So I was playing at that setting, and when I was on Coruscant, it was running okay. It wasn't the best, and it wasn't the worst. It was definitely playable. Okay, I was hitting anywhere between, 60 frames per second. It would dip sometimes, and then it would go back up sometimes to like 80, even to 100 sometimes, just depending on this on uh, I guess on the background and what was going on and everything. Once I reached to the second road and it was more open area, a lot of things for the game to process. I did bring down the settings from Epic down to high settings, and it seemed to be a little steady, but it still every once in a while does have some hiccups here and there. And sometimes the frame rate dips, and sometimes it really pushes the GPU. It'll utilize it like 99%, and the fans just start whipping up. I was listening to other YouTube folks, Daniel Owens. Make sure you guys check him out. He does a lot of GPU news, and he was breaking it down. And he said that the game is probably it's being bottlenecked by the CPU, and they're not properly utilizing the CPU cores and threads. So very possible. The guy knows more than I do, so it's possible. It's likely that that can happen. But what I want to talk about, guys, is again, I'm not defending EA, but I think it's just getting blown out the water, at least for my system. Now, it depends. I mean, because my system is different from your system, which is different from the next person's system. And, there's a lot of variables to work out. And that's something EA needs to focus on, not just EA, but any video game developer, right? Whether it's Sony, whether it's Square Enix, whether it's what's the one that did Hogwarts? Portkey Games or something like that. Like all of them who make stuff, and I brought this up in a recent episode when I was at PlayStation Master Race, where it seems like the stuff that's coming out on the console seems to be more steady than it has been on the PC side. That almost seems like a track record now, at least for in 2023, even late 2022. We've been noticing that. But these developers need to start being held to a higher standard. I know if they want to release their stuff on consoles, Sony and Microsoft, they have to have certain requirements to meet so it could be released on their games. Because if it doesn't, they can pull the game off their online storefronts. And we've seen it before with Cyberpunk 2077. Do you guys remember that when it got launched on the last gen systems, the base versions? I think so. I think for sure Sony pulled it off. So they lost a lot of money and they had to issue refunds. So the game has to be to a certain standard. Now, when it comes to PC on Steam, I don't think that's a requirement. At least I don't. I mean, you guys have to fact check me on that. But it and mind you, I'm giving the game a pass for what it is. Like I said, it's not the best performance, it's not the worst performance, but then again, I didn't pay the $70. Is it $70? $60 that it was to come out. That was charging for the game. So I mean, I've been having fun with it. It's honestly it's a fun game, but it's nothing. It's more of the same. I mean, they added some new stuff. You got some new battle stances, which is pretty cool. And you now have a grappling hook. I think they add that to every game I think they add it to every game. But still, it's still the same thing. You go around. You have these meditation points where you got restock your stims, your health pots, and the enemies respawn, and then you're going around exploring the area, and it's not open world at all. I would not call it open world. It has some open areas, and then it's some very linear, and then the shortcuts. And you know when you're coming across a shortcut because they all look the same. They all look like a wire that connects to another to another post. So that's when you see the shortcuts. Again, it's a fun game, but it's not the best game. And I just kind of want to bring that up to y'all's attention, guys. Is like these games coming up and these developers getting away with this stuff, like having the consumer to play test their AAA titles. That's totally unacceptable. I mean, especially after EA. I mean, they've recently had a bunch of layoffs. Let me see. I wrote this down, guys. They had some layoffs. They had 6% of the workforce laid off, and they recently had like 200 members of QA from their Apex team, quality assurance from the Apex team, get laid off also. Now, I'm sure the Apex team deals with Apex teams, but all the layoffs, some of those had to be I'm sure QA quality testers for the game, and them doing that and then making you buy the game and then test it and then giving the feedback and then saying, oh, we're going to fix it. And I also think it's one of the issues is because games are just out online now, and they have the option of just sending day one. I mean, how many times have you seen it, guys? They send day one patches. Oh, we know this is wrong. We know this is wrong. We know there's an error with this, but we're gonna have to make a patch and fix it so we can, make the better experience. And I think you're seeing this just way too often, way too much now, and it's almost makes me it's making me hesitant on some titles because I'm honestly, ever since I saw the trailer for Armored Core 6, guys, check out the gameplay trailer. It looks legit. It looks dope. I'm excited for it. I never played an Armored Core game in my life, but the track record that FromSoft is on right now, I'm excited. And I don't want Armored Core 6 to be anything like we've seen from these other games being released earlier this year. I don't want it to be buggy or unplayable or just bad pop-ins or stuff like that. I mean, look, I do like FromSoft, but that does not mean it's safe for me critiquing it if when it comes out. I mean, Elden Ring, I love the game. I love it very much, but I mean, you guys heard me say it 100 times already. On the PC side, I still have some issues. I still have some random stuttering here and there, and it annoys me because sometimes it pops up in the worst time. Especially at one time when I was fighting Millennia, Blade of Makila, that was the worst possible time to happen, and it sucks. And I have it on 3 PCs, and I still have the same issue. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or if I maybe missing some settings. But I mean, just the PC port alone, that's just upsetting. And I just don't want that to happen because I want to get Armored Core 6 day one. I really do. But I guess I would just have to wait. And this is another thing too, guys, I wanted to talk to you about is you saw, especially right before the release of Star Wars, right? You saw people tweeting out like, oh, everybody the Metacritic and all these game journalists, I use that term loosely, and video game personalities and influencers are giving all these marks, 8.0, 8.5, something across the board. But it's like, how do you guys give a game an 8 when it has these kind of issues? Because I honestly would dock more points because of the performance issue, and that's my biggest thing when it comes to the game is the performance. Of course, when it comes to the actual gameplay of it, I'm all about the mechanics. I don't care much for the stories. I want to actually play the game and have fun. But the performance, though, if it's lacking, I mean, this needs to be put into the review itself and discussed, because you can't just be saying a game's, oh, I give it's a solid B, it's an 80, and then go around and write an article saying, oh yeah, this game's terrible, it's bad, it's one of the worst launches in the in the 2023. It's like you guys have to like pick a stand. And honestly, a lot of the reviewers, they're probably in bed with the developers and take money and stuff like that and get extra copies and get perks for stuff like that. So like, in if I could just give you some advice, guys, if you're gonna get any reviews or recommendations to video games, make sure it's someone you know. And what I like to do is, not only do I like to go on Twitch and then see some people that I know who are playing the games, so I can ask questions. I also like to ask my peers and people that I know, whether it's on Discord or real life friends or just people that I interact with on a when it comes to the hobby of video games. That those opinions from those folks are going to carry a lot more weight than these other big names, your Kotaku's, your PC gamers, your IGNs, and all that, because those guys, I mean, they'll carry water for the developers. Just, I mean, just be very wary, guys. When you see stuff like that, I mean, it's best to have someone that and get the opinion from them. Whether it is someone on Twitch. I mean, at least that way you have a direct access and you can like talk to them while they're playing the game, or at least ask questions, right? Excuse me, guys. Yeah, but it's just with the trend of what we've been seeing lately, it just feels. I mean, and we've seen it with Forspoken, Wild Hearts, Hogwarts Legacy, The Last of Us PC port, Wolong, Fallen Dynasty, and and at the same time, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, because as bad as awful as Star Wars Jedi Survivor is on PC, according to some folks, I've been having an okay experience with it. Not the greatest, not the worst. It's definitely playable. And it got me thinking, how much of what they said about these other games that I just listed is that true? Because I heard Wild Hearts was kind of rough on launch, and it has PC issues. I know The Last of Us had, a lot of people said it had PC issues, especially with loading up the shaders and stuff like that. It almost makes me want to question these folks again, and I want to just go back to what I just said earlier, that maybe you kind of have to just take it with a grain of salt and have to ask people that you actually know, that you could get in contact with, and ask them directly and get their opinion, because again, the person is gonna at least tell you straight up, right? And compared to these other journalists who are just there to make a buck. Sorry, I just got a hair in my mouth. Sorry. So yeah, guys, you gotta look out for that. So yeah, stuff coming out for 2023 has been kind of rough. We have to look out for that. Keep your eyes peeled. And it's a shame, because like I said, I'm looking forward to Armored Core, which got a release date, by the way, guys. It's gonna be released in August 2023. First, it was a rumor, and then FromSoft tweeted out saying it will be coming out in August, and they showed the gameplay trailer, and oh my god, it looks fun. It looks interesting. The just I get the same tones from the worlds that they make in that's FromSoft makes with the other worlds. I mean, whatever this Rubicon 6, I think that's what the plan's called. It just looks dark and desolate and bleak, just like the other worlds they make. So I'm just ready to explore and just get in a big mech and cause some mayhem, and just it looked insane. Also, I saw another tweet that's saying that Elden Ring, The Shadow of the Erdtree DLC has been in development for over a year. So they've been working on it for a good while, guys, which to me is let's they've been working on it for a year. Take as much time as you need. Let's make this great. Let's make this a great DLC, because I love the game so much. I'm playing it again. Okay, I'm playing another playthrough, and I'm still finding things I haven't discovering things I haven't discovered yet. New NPCs and quest lines, and having to go back and try different weapons and different builds and different spells. And it's a complete joy, guys. If you haven't tried out Elden Ring, give it a shot. That's like the most accessible FromSoft games, honestly, hands down. I mean, you should give it a shot. But yeah, the fact that they've been working on it for over a year, I'm really excited. I want to see some legacy dungeons. I want to see a new zone. I want to see new spells, new armor, weapons, weapon arts. Even if it's more of the same, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I think I just been having such a great experience with it that the DLC super excited for right now. FromSoft is definitely doing good on my book, and I just can't wait. Um, I know you guys probably heard this already, and are probably tired of hearing already about it, but seems like the UK is blocking the Activision Blizzard Microsoft $69 billion deal. And I know I bring it up like every month, and I'm tired of bringing it up, guys. But I just want to let y'all know that this is a thing that's still going on, and they plan to appeal it. And I think it's all because Sony doesn't want Microsoft to have Call of Duty exclusively on their hardware. But then Sony has exclusive stuff. Like, I don't know. I just find the deal weird. Like at this point, I'm just tired of hearing about it. I just want it done. Honestly, in my opinion, I want Microsoft to get Activision Blizzard. Just so I could see PlayStation like lose their ass. That's why. That's the only reason why. I don't care. I don't play Call of Duty. I'm not active. I'm not interested in any active Activision Blizzard games. I'm not even with Diablo 4. I'm just. I mean, I thought I was excited, but the more I hear just about Activision Blizzard and the way they're gonna price the game, like I'm just not interested. It's fine. I mean, I'll watch my wife play. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of my friends are going to be interested in playing it. But honestly, I mean, I have Street Fighter 6 to play anyway. Oh, and by the way, guys, I did try out the beta. Um, I'll try it out on the PlayStation. I haven't tried it out on Steam. I need to do that. So stay on the lookout for that. And I think they said there's something on the way. Classic Capcom, announcement for announcement. Something's on the way, so keep your eyes peeled. Although Capcom did tweet out, well, Street Fighter Six, the Street Fighter Six folks did tweet out that the Street Fighter Six closed beta test violation is a violation. Like, okay, so some people when they did the beta for, was it? Yeah, when they had a closed beta, some people were able to find a workaround, and we called it the crack beta. They were able to get a workaround and still be able to play it, even though Capcom shut it down. So it's finally got to the attention of Capcom that people were still playing this, and this has since when was it, guys? When did it happen? When did the betas come out? Late last year? I think it was late last year or earlier this year. I'm not too sure. But anyways, it just came to the attention to Capcom that people are playing the crack beta, and it is a violation, and it is like they can, if they choose to, can ban you from the Capcom Pro Tour. So at this point, I don't know. I mean, if anything, like I find that to be an empty threat. What Capcom should have done said, look, it's come to our attention that people have been playing the crack beta, and just leave it at that, or something like that. I mean, because because what are you gonna do? How are you gonna prove that someone has it? And then if that's the case, okay, first of all, how are you gonna prove it? And then it becomes like, how do you know this doesn't become some sort of witch hunt, and people just start saying stupid shit and be like, "Hey, this person played the crack beta or something like that." I mean, honestly, look, they should have done a better system of protecting it. I mean, I'm not a video game developer or engineer, and I don't know how they could have done that, but there should have been some sort of workaround, or not workaround, but some sort of plan to make sure this doesn't get. I have no idea, guys. People are always going to find a way, but the fact that they're saying it's a violation, I understand it's a violation, but how is it just now coming to y'all's attention that people are playing the crack beta? It doesn't make sense. They should have knew about it. Like everybody who knows Street Fighter knew there's some people out there playing it. I mean, I don't think anybody was dumb enough to actually stream it, because I think they would get shut down. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a person or two that did that. So yeah, that's a thing to look out for, guys. Capcom said they'll be cracking down on people who did it, and again, it just feels like at this point, so close to the release of the game. I mean, we're just about we're almost a month away from the game. I'm sure there's gonna be changes compared to the beta that people are playing now. So It might make a difference for like the high ranking players, maybe for the first event, like when it comes to Evo, because Evo is like in August. And I mean, they might have a slight advantage, but once everybody gets a hold of the game and is able to, and then the meta happens to develop different tech, and different tiers are able to emerge, and different, and especially from different regions, right? Because Japanese players have their own tier list, EU players have their own tier list, NA players have their own tier list. So it's going to vary per region. So I mean, maybe they're just kind of throwing that out there just to cover their asses, just to let people know like they are aware that it is. But at the same time, it's like, what are you going? How can you possibly enforce that? How? I mean, I would, unless someone freaking screenshotted their freaking desktop and you saw the short. I don't know. But yeah, that's something to look out for, guys. What else, guys? Anything before we have to talk about? I think that's about it. Not really much left to talk about. But going back to Star Wars again, I think it's just getting. I think it's getting just a lot of just hate for no apparent reason. And it sucks because I kind of wanted to, not so much wanted it to be a bad game at launch, but it almost feels like them saying it's this bad, and when it's really not. I'm starting to second guess. I'm starting to second guess everything now, especially when it comes to other games, because it almost feels like you would have to play every game yourself on your system, and then for several hours, and then come to a conclusion on the performance and how it played. Because getting the experience from someone, like, I don't trust these people. I really don't. I don't know what they're about. I don't know what their agenda is. I don't know what what their biases are. And again, I think there's a lot of just confirmed biases when it comes to Star Wars. And again, guys, I don't want to defend the game. I'm not trying to shill for it, or huffing the copium for EA about the game. It's just I really feel like it's just getting blown out of proportion. And at this point now, it's like I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. Any game that comes out and they say it's unplayable, or the thing is, these people who are saying that need to be, who are giving it like an 80 or 4 stars or whatever, they need to be more transparent about the game. They need to just be, I mean, I just give out numbers, because numbers, it's quick, it's easy. You could do that in a tweet, but it's not giving you the whole story. You have to do your due diligence, guys, and start looking around and seeing what is the performance on at least when it comes on the PC side, right? When it comes to the consoles, you're probably going to be in a safe spot, most likely. I mean, that seems to be the track record from what we've seen, especially in this year, 2023. Everything that comes out on both PC and the PlayStation. I'm saying PlayStation because that's the one I play the most. I do have an Xbox Series X, which I only played Symphony of the Night on. But for the consoles, it seems to be on has to, for the most part, seems to have a solid track record. On the PC side, it varies, and that's one thing I did want to talk about real quick before we wrap it up. The settings, the display settings on Star Wars. It was odd that especially coming off of Resident Evil 4. You could change the anti-aliasing, the frame rate, just a ton of features, and actually broke it down and told you what it affects, and gave you a little display of how it affects the game. EA didn't do this with Star Wars, which is a shame. I mean, they didn't have any features to set it at 60 frames, at 120 frames, or 144 frames. They didn't have any of that. They didn't tell you or give you a description of what each of the option does, which I think was very lacking for a title that's that's very highly anticipated, that had a pretty good successor game. It did have its issues, and I'll admit I did play the game, and I did have some couple of bugs. I already had a couple of bugs. I had a game crashing bug on Survivor anyway. But it just feels like EA is missing out, and they should have fleshed out at least. I mean, they should have fleshed out a lot, but they should have worked on the display settings and give you some more information on that. Anyways, guys, I am done. We got to wrap it up. This was a short episode. I'm running out of time for this month, but I'll be back next week. We'll have more news. We'll find some things. Again, guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. You guys have anything I want to talk about, you want to reach me, make sure you go hit me out on Twitter at OS_R1CK. I love streaming on Twitch. Same thing, OS_R1CK. Guys, if you want to help out the channel, tell a friend, retweet. Retweets are free. I appreciate it. Have a good day. I love y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.